Here we are in the index HTML, and we can see that in the header, ID header, there is an H2 that displays the correct definition of this usability heuristic. So this doesn't change throughout the game until the end, and the reason I left it there is so that the user, if they didn't already know, they'll know what is going to happen in the quiz and like what they have to do. And then under that there is an ID heuristic, but that is currently hidden. Then there is the button, which is a start game button, which we can see here. And on click, it will run the start game function, and it has the ID of start. So if you go to the JavaScript, here's the start game function, and the first thing in the start game function is that the play again button will be hidden. And as you can see, it is hidden. Then it runs the loop, which sets all of the arrays to no, like all the array slots to no, so that the computer knows that the questions have not been asked and that it can ask any question. And it sets all of these things, so the score, the game counter, the output, the current score, final message, and the final score, all to nothing or 0. So they're all empty and ready to be filled afresh, so it all resets. And then there's the start class name, which is, as we go back to the indexed HTML, which is the ID of start on the start game button. And that is hidden. So when you click the start game button, it hides. So it's no longer there. And then the game box shows, which is all this section. As you can see, it is now showing where it was not before. The header shows, which is up here. And the current score, which you can't see yet, but it does show once you click on a button. And then the start game function then calls the ask question function. So we now get to the ask question function. So just for the purpose of showing how it works, I'm going to skip the if game counter equals question main length, because that is if the game is fully over and all 10 questions have been asked. So I'll go back to that after I have gone through the else. So the else is if there are still questions to be asked. So the game counter does not equal the length of question main. So if they ask a random question and the slot has been filled to yes in the array, it has already been asked before, so it will run the ask question function again. And obviously, because if I got to there before there were still questions to be asked, it would skip all of this and come down to this else function. Now here we can see the heuristic.html equals question main random question. So it will select a random part from the question main. So say, what's it got here? So it chooses aesthetics and minimalistic design. So that then the slot of aesthetic and minimalistic design is then set to yes, so it has been asked. And it sets all of the things in the parallel arrays that are parallel to the aesthetic and minimalist design in the first question main array. All of that will be set to yes, so it has been asked before and will not show up. That is what the ask a random question equals yes, and all of these have random question on them, so they will be set to yes. So choice 1 is this is choice 1. And the init HTML, which if we go to the HTML, will show this. So this is the init HTML that will change. And it will display option, so the array that aligns with, for this example, aesthetic and minimalist design, which is the third one in, on option 1, so 1, 2, 3, website is visually appealing will show up. And as you can see, that is exactly what is in option 1. So once that is done and that has run through, the game counter will add plus because a question has been asked. Therefore, the game counter will go up 1. We then get to the check answer function. This is when the computer checks the answer. So basically, if you click on something, all the buttons will become disabled. So, as you can see, you cannot click on any of them until they become enabled again. If the user gets the correct they select the correct answer, the answer will be equal to correct definition. So for this error prevention, this is the correct answer. Blocks users from inputting invalid data and set up defaults to help users. So then if we go to correct definition, we can see that that is there. So that is the same as that. And so that is equal. So the score will go up by 1 because that is the correct definition, and it will display text that is green and says well done, that is the correct definition. So I'll show you that that works. So as you can see, the score went up by 1 and the text is showing up. However, if they get the question wrong, so anything else, so help and documentation, so whenever a user asks for help, it is documented as not the correct definition. So when I click it, the text will be red and the score will not go up. So the score didn't change and the text was red. The current score will show at the bottom. Well, it's not at the bottom, but it's at the top. And the current score will show whatever the user's score is after they've been through the whole ask question and check answer functions, and it will show their score out of 10 because there are 10 questions. After 2 seconds, so 1, 2, the game goes to the next question. That's what the set timeout ask question function does. So after 2 seconds, it will go through the ask question function again. Now if I just keep going through this until we get to the end, until I've been through 10 questions, which is the end, it shows this screen. And this is when the second part of the ask question function comes in. So if game counter equals question main dot length, so the game counter is the amount of questions we've been through. If it is equal to the length of question main, which is 10, then the game is over because all 10 questions have been asked. So it disables all the buttons and then hides the game box, which is the grid of buttons that you can see there normally. The current score the current score is hidden. As you can see, you can no longer see the current score up the top there. The header is hidden. As you can see, all of the text in the header class is hidden. The final score will show, which is this. And the final score in the HTML will say final score plus the score that the user got out of 10. So I got 4 correct, so I got 4 out of 10. If I had got 10 out of 10, where the score, so the score that the user got is equal to the length of question main, which is 10. So if the player gets 10 out of 10, they got 100% correct. So the HTML would say, it would say here, wow, you got a perfect score. But if they got more or equal to 7, which is the score equals greater than or equal to 7, the final message will say, you know your usability heuristics pretty well, try for a perfect score next time. But if the player, like I did in this round, got less than 7 correct, then this message will display. And it says, nice try, play the quiz again to learn the heuristics better. And after that, so this doesn't go away, but the set timeout function after a second shows the play again button, so it basically shows up straight away, which goes through the play again button, takes you back to the beginning of the start game function. So if we click that, the play again button will hide. There will be no start game function button, but there will be the header and the game box. So that works, and then the game just restarts. As you can see, it's 0 out of 10 again, and none of the questions have been asked, and it's going through them all again. So that is the evidence that my code works.